Good morning, everybody. It's your boy Gsluke. What do I like these morning live streams? Kind of got to wake myself up earlier, thinking about golf early in the morning, and just excited to hop into Saturday and what should hopefully be yet another extremely profitable day. Yesterday was crazy, whether it was on the course or off. Over there on Showdown, our top play Tom Kim absolutely nuked yesterday, and then on PrizePicks, we just went out there and swept for the second straight day. So things are looking green in the Discord down there and the Patreon for everybody a part of this community. And hopefully you've made it count here to this point. But we're not done yet. We're only halfway done with the event. And honestly, our ROI over the last 2 days are pretty much what people are looking for in an entire month when it comes to playing PGA DFS. So we're playing with house money at this point. We're able to, even with my 4-round stuff, I'm kind of playing with house money, whether it's my outrights, DFS, that sort of thing. So I don't know. It's a pretty good feeling headed into the weekend. So what's going on? I see a bunch of you down there in chat. What's going on, boys? We've got Dot running down there. What's going on? What's going on, Corey? Hopefully you're doing well this fine Saturday morning. Is this pre-recorded? Absolutely not. It's live as can be out there. What's going on? You win, or it's actually why I win. I realized that a little bit later. He let me know down in the Patreon that I was saying it wrong. What's going on? Why I win? Name makes a lot more sense now, by the way. Martin says, what's going on, Luke? What's going on, Martin? And we've got Clay and William down there, too. And I see Clay's ready to get into the round 2 or round 3. Yeah, I'm excited as well. So let's go ahead and get this thing started. Off the golf course yesterday, it was also interesting for me. I say interesting with tongue-in-cheek out there because I went to the doctor. I had that little bit of an issue with my left lung, or at least I thought it was my left lung. Turns out you can crack or fracture a rib by coughing too hard. So that's what I was dealing with, is actually a cracked rib. It wasn't my lungs. So that's actually a really good thing. I'll be good to go. I just have to take it easy. And then I came home and there was a pipe burst in my house. My apartment was completely flooded. My cats were completely soaked. And we had to deal with that. We had to call ServPro. I actually have machines running in my house right now, sucking a bunch of water out of my house. So I had to sleep with those on last night. Which we obviously didn't sleep very well, but it's okay. We got our coffee here, right? It's Saturday morning. We'll live. We went out last night. So we would have felt like a zombie anyways, right? We went out to the bars with our boys. We would have felt like this anyways. But I don't know. We're surviving, right? We got the water pumping out of the house. We got the thing figured out with the lungs, but we made a bunch of money yesterday. So I'm not going to complain. Let's hop into the golf course, though. What you guys are here for, the analysis. So round 2, it played a lot harder than round 1, and we kind of expected that. The winds in the morning looked a lot more severe than they had been there for Thursday. And then even in the afternoon, though they weren't crazy winds, right? We weren't dealing with like 15 to 25 mile an hour wind gusts. They were in that 10 to 15 mile an hour range, which couldn't be more different than what we're going to see here on Saturday. So, typically we do a deep dive. We look at all the courses. We go, okay, which ones played easier, so on and so forth. The only real difference was the stadium course. Right? It played significantly more difficult yesterday, all because of the weather. But for Saturday, we'd probably expect it to play closer to round 1, or the split was even across the board, right? It played 2.5 strokes under there on Thursday. Nicholas only 0.46 strokes easier. La Quinta only 0.15 strokes easier. So a lot of people may overreact to what you saw yesterday, where the stadium played significantly more difficult, not realizing that all the best players in the field tomorrow are going to be at the stadium. I mean, literally, look at the top 10, 15 of pricing. At least 10 of those players are going to be at the stadium. So if you're just fully going to fade the stadium course, you're going to be exiting out a vast majority of those top end plays, which might be intriguing, except there's only a 0.46 shot difference. And now that you're accounting for all of those solid players on the stadium course, I think it might play the easiest course today. And I don't mean from difficulty, no doubt. The Nicklaus course is the easiest course. But when it comes to scoring average, it's swayed heavily, particularly when it's only like a 55, 60 player sample size. What do they have on each course? Like 52 players on each golf course. That is going to be swayed heavily by, a 10 to 15 player sample size, like all those guys at the top of the board. So if you're looking at just the pure averages today, I would expect the stadium to actually play the easiest. Nicholas, La Quinta, you're still going to see plenty of low scores. But if you're looking for any sort of comparison, whether it's on PrizePicks or if you're playing over on DFS and trying to get a feel for how the field is going to play, look at your round 1 stats. Round 2 is going to be a little bit irrelevant because of the differences with the wind. And there's not going to be a huge advantage either, right? The wind's flat across the board. It's not like we're trying to target guys that are going off early versus going off later on. All of those would be maybe like a 0.1, 0.2 shot difference out there. Just not enough to act on. So we'll go ahead and leave the weather at that. It's a pretty simple one when it comes to the weather. And excuse me, guys, if I feel like I'm going a little fast here. The Serve Pro people are coming at 9:50. So I have a hard cutoff time this time. I got to get out of here at 9:50. So let's go over to the DraftKings side. Let's catch up on chat, see what's going on. Devin Scott, what's going on? Love to see you down there. Long time no see. He said the PrizePicks have been fire. Love it. I love when we can all add to the bankroll. William, what's going on? Cam Young Day. I hope so. I've got him in a bunch of lineups. So you need him to make the cut and then hopefully get himself into contention. So I hope so, William. And Dot Drumming says, no cap, your picks are hot. Hey, I'm all for it. Hey, when we're hot, you want to ride that heater like you're at the blackjack table, which we won't talk about it last night. I actually went to, we will talk about it actually. I don't know why I said we wouldn't. I went to the casino last night and got absolutely destroyed on the blackjack tables. Went with two of my buddies. They only took out 200. I took out a rack. Lost that in about 20 minutes at the table. I play hyper aggressive when I play blackjack, and then took out another rack and lost that. So we made a bunch of money over there in PrizePicks. We lost quite a bit at the Hard Rock Casino last night. Let's just say that. But I don't know. If you go to the blackjack table thinking you're going to make money, you're lost to begin with. You need a map. Get a map if you think you're going to win at blackjack every time. So I'm not all that worried about it. Let's get into this player pool though. So for round 3 Showdown, you do get an interesting factor when it comes to ownership. So yesterday, Rom was right around 30.3%. He's pretty much at the same exact number here for round 3. And that's all because of the score. When you have somebody at 16 under par, a few shots off of that winning score, people are going to flock to him over the other players. And that effect is only even more pronounced when it comes to round 3 Showdown. There's this misnomer out there. A lot of people that play round 3 Showdown are coming into round 3 because they've played round 4 Showdown before, right? Everyone's been there before where your lineups are dead on a Sunday and you want to have a sweat. So you go out there, you play round 4 Showdown. Maybe some of these casual slap dicks over the last few months or maybe even last few weeks have played on Sunday and go, oh, you get points for finishing in first place, right? Placement points. There's still a huge contingent of players out there that think that on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday round Showdown that you're getting those placement points. They obviously don't exist, right? Look at the scoring, guys. They're only there for the Sunday Showdown. So guys like Jon Rahm inherently just get, I don't know, probably 20, 30% boost in terms of their ownership. So let's say like if they were 20% owned, they're probably going to be like 25, 26% owned just because of that effect alone. So anytime we can leverage that to our advantage, that's going to be something that I'm looking to do. So in terms of the guys up top that I'm getting to, I mean, Scotty Scheffler is the one that I'm planting my flag in. Now, out there, I don't think you have to choose Scotty, right? There's plenty of solid options up top to get to, but I think you should pick one, maybe two at the very most here from right around $9,800 and up. So, including these 4 guys like a Rahm, Scheffler, Cantlay, and Xander. All of those sort of guys, just pick 2 of them. Pick one, right? I went with one. I'm being a little bit more aggressive up top. And the reason why I'm getting to Scotty is he's the only player without a bogey to this point. Now, he's very likely to make one here on Saturday. What that tells me is that the ball striking is a lot better than we can tell. We don't have the stats from the stadium course. We don't have the shots gained, I should say, that we would typically have at this point on a Saturday Showdown. But based on that fact alone, right, the fact that he hasn't gone out there and made a bogey, leads me to think that his tee to green play is a little bit better than the score is showing. And yesterday with a lot of the coverage, now we didn't get to see a whole shot by shot because he wasn't a featured group, but he was missing plenty of birdie looks just like he did there on Thursday. Right? He had that 2-foot miss on hole number 1 on Thursday, which probably just sent his momentum with the flat stick in the wrong direction. So it's not like he's a guarantee or a shoo-in to turn it around. But if he does, I mean, we know the ball striking's there to take this place nuclear low. I mean, like Sam Burns low, like what we saw on a Thursday. And I think that one of these guys up top, I mean, it might just be Rahm again, right? Rahm, round 1, round 2, absolute machine. Won last time out of the Century Tournament of Champions. Like I said, there's not really an incorrect choice up here. I guess if you're playing Rahm, I might make him the only guy up top that you're playing, right? So, I'm going extremely aggressive on a 15% owned Scotty Scheffler. But if you wanted to play Rahm, just play them in all your lineups. Just lock them, right? I'm locking somebody like a Scotty Scheffler in probably 65, 70% of my lineups, that sort of thing. The rest, right, the 25 to 30% without a Scotty are probably just going to start in this 9K range. Maybe it'll be, a Tony Finau. Maybe it'll be a Sungjae Im that I'm starting that sort of lineup with. But that's the idea that I'm going with. Scotty, like I said, the ball striking's been there, and we don't have the stats, so it's like the ultimate unknown. The one thing I do know about John Rahm, because we've seen so much of his play, is that he's making everything on the greens. He's making all those 10 to 15 footers. On the other hand, guys like Scotty, Tony Finau, I've seen just miss in a limited amount of putts this week. Those sort of players are going to turn it around at some point. And the good old John Rahm, we know how much he hates a putting contest. I don't know if we can count on that to happen all 4 days. So hopefully today's the day that he doesn't have his solid performance. You can get to one of the two lovers down here, Cantlay or Xander Schauffele. They're both low owned, 14.2%. 11.7% for Xander. People are still a little bit scared to play him after the injury concerns. Truth be told, he could flare up and have back issues today, so keep that in mind. But he's only $9,800, and the swing looks beautiful. He said after his round that he feels great, so I wouldn't expect any sort of regression, any sort of back pain to flare up. But do keep in mind that that is possible, right? When players get these back injuries, even if it's not an acute injury that requires surgery, that sort of thing, it can be recurring. You've seen it, especially older players like Jason Day is infamous. Louis Oosthuizen, for example, all of those players that, from time to time will have to withdraw. It usually starts with this sort of injury. So just, I'm a little bit worried about him going forward. I hope he gets past it. I mean, I'm not going to be that worried about it because I have him in my lineups, right? I played him this week. I'm still hoping that he gets himself into contention after today, but I'm not so sold for the Showdown side. Love Tony Finau, though. $9,600. He's 8.8% owned. We got to love about Big Tone is the ball striking. He's been playing alongside Scotty Scheffler. The off the tee play, he can hit more fairways. Let's look at the fairway percentage. I know it's not pretty for Tony because every time I'm checking his shot tracker, which doesn't have the exact positions, but it'll tell you like if they're hidden out of the rough, primary rough, that sort of thing. It hasn't been pretty for Tony Finau. So let's take a look at this fairway percentage. He's definitely got to increase it around the stadium course, but let's see what it is to this point. It's actually 67.86%, so it's not nearly as poor as I thought, but that's still outside of the top 50 when it comes to your driving accuracy. So he can improve there. Just, Tony Finau, keep it a little bit cleaner out there with the ball striking and make a few putts, for goodness sakes. It's about time, Big Tone. You were gaining with the flat stick for such a long time here. I mean, look at this. Last 36 rounds coming in, Tony Finau was gaining 0.9 strokes with the flat stick. I mean, we know that wasn't going to continue. We know that's unsustainable for big old Tony Finau. But come on, just slightly gain for us, right? Even if you're just a neutral putter, Tony, you're going to go out there and shoot 5, 6, 7 under par today. So that's the idea there. Let's catch up on live chat, see what's going on down there. If you guys have any questions, feel free. Let's see. Blackjack is so cheap. You can beat blackjack. I'll just say that. I'm not gonna say much more than that. You guys know if you know. Clay Daughtry says, do you think it's good to pair Scotty and Cantlay together? You used Munoz and Riley for value. So yeah, Munoz, Riley, great high birdie percentage players. Love that. And Scotty and Cantlay, a little bit expensive. Let's see. What are you looking at in terms of price on those two? So Riley's only $7,300. And who was the other one you had? You had Munoz too. I know Munoz is pretty damn cheap too. Where's good old Sebastian? I probably went past him. I guess they brought his price up because he played well. Okay, so you're looking at two 7K golfers, two 10K golfers. So that's like you're gonna have like $7,000 or $7,500 remaining, something in that range for your last two players. It's aggressive. It's studs and duds for sure. But perhaps in that lineup, you take another 6K golfer. So rather than just taking a Munoz and a Riley, make your third player there that's cheap, quote unquote cheap, really cheap. Go down to a $6,500 golfer that you like. Go to $6,700, $6,800. That way, for your last player, right, your sixth man in, you're not in the middle of that 7K range. You can go up a little bit further, perhaps try and fit in one of these 8K guys, because with how soft the pricing is, this 8K range is loaded. I mean, JT Poston's playing beautiful golf. I love Keith Mitchell today. You can see he's in my player pool, somebody that I'm trying to jam in. I'd rather try and get to a Keith Mitchell, like Ricky Fowler, who I also really like today, or even potentially getting up to like a Cage Lee or Andrew Putnam, more than trying to live in this 7K range. So I like the start to your lineup. I'm just saying for the last two spots, maybe take a 6K range golfer. It's the perfect time to go out and do so, to try and spend up into that 8K range. Yeah, $6,700. Yeah, so you might need one more guy right around like $6,700. And then you can spend to the middle, the top end of that 8K range. and add even more top end upside. So that's what I would recommend. I'm extremely aggressive when it comes to Showdown. William says, your thoughts on Austin Cook for a cheapie? Well, boy, oh boy, haven't thought much about good old Austin Cook this week. I'll say that I didn't even know he was in the field, if I'm going to be completely transparent with you. It's one of those weeks for Austin Cook, huh? Let's see. There he is. So he's $6,300. The form's actually decent. Like he's like number 79 in the field when it comes to form. He's 121 in pricing. Let me take a look at some of the shots gained, because he's a short game specialist. We know that. I just want to look at the approach play more than anything for Austin Cook. So let's see if I can find Cookie Monster. Oh, he was really cheap this week in 4-round too. That's kind of surprising to me, because he was number 79 when it came to form. Where are you at? There he is. Austin Cook, $6,400, gaining on approach and losing with everything. Okay, yeah, I like him, because I like playing Cook when the ball striking's there. It's not always there for Austin Cook. Usually, again, it's the around the green play and the putting that kind of carries his game. And let's see. I think he's played the stadium course. I would love to see Austin Cook's record to this point, like how he played at the stadium course when it came to shots gained. So he's -6. He's right on the cut line, so he's got plenty of motivation. And at the stadium course, he lost off the tee, gained 3 strokes on approach, and slightly lost with the putter. That's beautiful. It's a beautiful play, William. Thank you for putting me onto it. And we're gonna add him to the pool right now, right here live on stream. We're just adding it because I'm a slut for a guy that can go out there and gain a bunch on approach, especially somebody like Austin Cook. He's playing La Quinta and is historically a pretty damn good putter from time to time. So I'll take it. I like it. I think it's a pretty good cheapie. Christian says 100% posting for you today. Boy, oh boy, is that aggressive. I love it. I love when people are aggressive when they play DFS. That's how you go out there and win GPPs. Like they said, scared money ain't ever make no money. But yeah, I don't know. He's a little chalky. He's only 14%, but if you're 100%, it don't matter how chalky he is. You have infinite leverage to the field. I like it. I'm not playing him today, but I would sure as shit understand it. I played him in my 4-round stuff. I have plenty of exposure over there for my main slate. I had exposure yesterday for Showdown, so I had plenty of them yesterday. This is probably the one day to take a break. I sit back, just kind of like maybe hope that he goes out there, shoots like 3-4 under par, which would be fine. He'd still be in contention after today, but that's probably not enough for Showdown. Again, I'm just hoping at that point he could go out there and nuke again. I love my boy JT Poston. He's one of my favorite players on tour. That's for damn sure. All right, so let's continue. We talked about some of the guys up top. I guess let's finish with this 9K range. We'll get back into questions here in a second. If you have any questions, any deep dives you want, go ahead and throw their name down in chat. But Willie Z, he's just been average to this point. We know he can go nuclear at any given point, though. So if you're looking for an ownership pivot up top, it's a Finau at 8.8%, and then you have a Will Zalatoris here at 7.7%. You're not going to find a better value than that when it comes to getting leverage to the field. And by playing one or the other, let alone if you started, guys, if you started Tony Finau, Will Zalatoris today, you'd have infinite leverage. Like you could play whoever you wanted to with your last 4 spots. And I mean, if you went leverage play after leverage play in that lineup, I mean, you hit the nuts and you might be in 1st through 5th place in the large field GPP with that sort of start. So, yeah, I like Will Zalatoris. I like the ownership even more, to be quite frank with you. But Sanjay M, Tom Kim, these are 2 a little bit more chalky plays that I'm willing to get to. Tom Kim, I love the momentum. It looks like he found something on the green. That's why I'm so excited to play Tom, because over the last month or so, the real issue has been making putts. He's been losing with the flat stick. When he was new on tour, when he was that new face, he was gaining every single week. So we kind of got used to that. And when it went away, I think the red flag went up for a lot of people. But in round 2, he went out there, absolutely smashed on the greens. The iron play was there as well. And like I said, if he found something on those greens, watch out for good old Tom Kim. So he was our top pick yesterday for Showdown. He's not going to be my top pick today, but he's certainly going to be in the pool. Cam Young, he may end up getting added to the pool at the end of the day. But yeah, it's uncomfortable as hell, the fact that I'm not playing him here. I'm getting to Willie Z over Cam Young. It's just a personal decision when it comes down to how they're playing at this point. I think Will Zalatoris playing a little bit sharper golf than a Cameron Young. But hey, if you went with Cam Young today, I think somebody mentioned it a little bit earlier. I'm all for it. I think the guy's a stud in the format for a reason. Sam Burns kind of just spun his wheels there yesterday. He's $8,900. You can make me a buyer on that Nicholas course at $8,900 and only 12.7% ownership. Anytime somebody has just like a middling day, they're going to go way down ownership, right? Like Sam Burns was 25% yesterday when it came to his ownership. He's nearly half of that just because he had below average day. And that's golf. That happens. It's volatile. It's Showdown. It's a 1-round sample size, right? Shit's going to happen that you're not used to seeing when it's just an 18-hole sample size. I'll let everyone else overreact. That's an edge waiting to happen. Love Sahith. If I was going to add anybody else in this range, it would be Sahith. Just like a Cameron Young, right? These are kind of like the first and second man out of my player pool for today, but both of them solid options as well. I love Tom Hoge because he's on the Nicklaus course. So you can see Cam Davis, Tom Hoge. I'm really kind of going after some of these Nicklaus course guys. A majority of my pool when it comes to like pivot plays, if I can find low-owned guys on the Nicklaus course, I'm jamming them in bunches. You may have noticed that up top, I'm playing a lot of these stadium course guys because they're just the best players in the field. But when it comes to making decisions or doing tiebreakers, that's really what I was leaning on here because, day one, I know it was only a 0.46 stroke difference, but in terms of your birdie or better average, it was about a 0.2 birdie difference, which I know it doesn't sound like a bunch of points, but that's like a 1.2, 2-point edge when it comes to fantasy scoring and over a large player pool that does matter, particularly when it comes to ceiling. So I like Tom Hoge. -7. He's played decently to this point, but most importantly, he's low owned here for Saturday Showdown. Like getting to Cam Davis. He's been horrible to this point. I'll just say that, right? He's very likely to miss the cut. But if Cam Davis is going to make the cut, he's got to shoot 7-8 under par today so that we know Cam has to go after it. We know he's got the firepower to go out there and end up shooting something like 7 to 8 under par. So why not? Why not a Cam Davis bet to make the cut? It's actually something that I've placed this morning over there in Bovada. I believe it was like 875, 880. I think it was 880. The odds that I got on him to make the cut there. So we'll see. The guy's got to go out there and absolutely nuke it. And I don't know. I've seen it too many times before from a Cam Davis. He's got the firepower to go out there and do that. So I love it. We've got Andrew Putnam at $8,200. He's playing the Nicklaus course, which again, it's the huge. A lot of these middle tier guys are playing the Nicklaus course. It's huge. It's a huge differentiating factor. If I'm trying to choose between pretty much the same owned Adam Hadwin and the same owned Andrew Putnam, I'm going to take the guy that's playing the quote unquote easier course. So KH same story. He's relatively low owned on the Nicklaus course. Keith Mitchell, Ricky Fowler. Ricky, I think he's putting the ball beautifully. I don't know if you've seen, he has a new putter in the bag. It's got a super wide grip on it. He's using, it almost looks like a hockey grip on his freaking putter, and it's working. He's been making putts in bunches. I mean, it doesn't look very smooth. His typical putting stroke, his typical blade putter looks a lot more beautiful. It looks like a better putting stroke. He's starting to make more putts with this damn thing. So I don't know. I don't think he really cares if it looks good. I think he only really cares if the ball's going in the hole, and it seems to be doing so. So I like him at 7,800. Jason Day, I think that 13% is way too low on him. I don't know why people just don't like playing Jason Day. I mean, even for 4-round stuff, I played him this week and was able to get a bunch of leverage. He's -13. His ball striking was immaculate there yesterday, and he was on a lot of the broadcast, and no one wants to play the guy. It's like they worry about the back injury too much and just cloud their actual judgment of his play, which to this point has been beautiful. It has been great for some time. It's not like it was just this event. During the fall swing, he got into contention multiple times. I mean, just the shots gained have really started to come along on a Jason Day. So let me bring it up for you guys. He's like right here, $7,900. Look at this. He's gaining across the board except with the putter. And if there's anything we expect Jason Day to be world-class at, it's the flat stick. It's the around the green play. And to this point this week, let's see. I know he played the stadium course already. Let's see what the shots gained look like, at least on the stadium course, right? We're not going to be able to get metrics over there at La Quinta. But let's see. So good old Jason Day yesterday. He gained 1.6 strokes putting, so that's pretty decent, right? But most importantly, he gained 3.991 strokes on approach. Nearly 4 strokes with your irons in one round. I mean, that's outstanding. That's exactly what we're looking for in this sort of format. So love Jason Day, love the irons, and hopefully he can continue striping it. We've got Taylor Pendrith. He's only $7,500. He's kind of just like your forgotten man at this point. But in the fall swing, this guy was mega chalk for a reason. He's aggressive. He's a better player than his price tag. So love myself some Taylor Pendrith at the stadium. You got Grayson Sig. He's there at $7,500. I like the fact that he's at La Quinta. He's relatively low owned, and in the past has absolutely nuked at La Quinta. You saw him last year have an 8 under par round at La Quinta, and I like his chances to go out there and maybe repeat that. You've got Dean Burmeister. You have Russell Knox on here that I'll be playing. Knox's approach play has been fantastic to this point. He's hitting a bunch of greens in regulation. And Dean Burmeister, he's another player that's just underrated, right? Kind of like a Taylor Pendrith. He's a high birdie percentage player. He's just a better player than his price tag, and a good value at only 6.7% ownership. You have Emiliano Grillo. Yesterday, he'd lost nearly 2 strokes putting, yet made 5 birdies. So he was going out there pin seeking on almost every single hole. So if you can go out there, just make a putt or two, right? Be that neutral putter that I ask for from some of these dog shit putters. You're looking at something like 7 to 8 under. The ball striking has been there. It typically is for Emiliano Grillo. Just has to get that flat stick working, which towards the beginning of last year, a lot of you may remember, he was gaining significantly with the flat stick. And though he's still a slight positive in that category, you can see gaining right about 0.15 shots gained putting per round. It's not nearly as good as it was before, right? He's not gaining that 0.4, 0.5 shots per round. So Grillo, continue to ball strike it like you have, and just please, like a Finau, please, like a Scotty Scheffler, for God's sake, make a few putts. That's all I got to say. If you can't tell, I get a little triggered when these ball strikers can't putt. It's something I do in real life too. I ball strike the shit out of it and can't make a putt for my life. What's going on, Christian? He said, what are your thoughts on EVR today? You have 10% in week long and seems to be playing well. Well, first off, hats off to you to having 10% in week long. That's a heck of a pick. He wasn't coming in with the form you were looking for, but yeah, he's a world-class player, so you can never count him out. Let me see if we can bring up the stats. He might actually be on stadium. Actually, no, he played stadium round 1. I just want to see how he was hitting the ball there. So he's in 46. He's got incentive to make the cut, right? So he's still engaged here on a Saturday. We'd like to see that. And in terms of his shots gained, he gained across the board. He gained in every category. He gained a bunch around the green, 1.7 shots. So that's a little concerning. I'm fine with it, Christian. I think in your 4-round lineups, you have to feel really good about it, particularly if he can make the cut. But if you wanted to play him today, I'm not going to talk you off of him. He's an aggressive player, just better than his price tag. And you can say I don't have him in my pool, but if I was going to add anybody to this range, if I needed a larger pool, more players to choose from, he's on the short list of guys I'd consider for that. He might not be the first person that I add to my pool, but he's close to it. Solid play. And like I said, for 4-round contest, hats off to you, man. That's a heck of a play. I know it's risky, right? We play guys every week that we're going to take a risk on, but EVR, like I didn't play him this week. I wish I did. That's a sharp play. Good stuff. Ben Griffin, he had a much better day yesterday than he had on Thursday, which I think everyone would have expected. Nobody thought that Ben Griffin was going to shoot over par. That kid has been striping the ball for quite some time. So the fact that he went out there and had a better day, love to see it, first off. I think the kid's got a bright future. But let's take a look at how he actually hit the ball. So yesterday, he shot 5 under par. Again, yeah, he shot 1 over on the first day, made 6 birdies. And in terms of your shots gained to this point, he's doing what he does. He's gaining off the tee and on approach. 1.4 strokes gained yesterday on approach, and then gained 1.8 strokes with the putting, which is kind of what he does too, right? That's a solid round of putting, but it's not like he went out there and gained 3 or 4 strokes. So yeah, Ben Griffin trending in the right direction. Super low owned because of how he played there on Thursday, and only $7,200. Sign me up, right? This guy was 10% owned for your 4-round contests, and now what? He's like a quarter of that ownership. He's right around the same price tag that he was going into the week, playing La Quinta, just a smash play. Love him. You have David Lipsky. He played well last week, but has really sucked to this point. I kind of like getting to those players because we know they're not that far off, right? Just last week, right? He was going out there nuking, making a bunch of birdies, was in contention at that event. And now he's only 4.1% owned. He's way cheaper than he was just yesterday when it came to Showdown. Yes, please. I'll take all the David Lipsky, please. SH Kim. People are going to make a lot about his water ball, or what was it? Yeah, water ball on 16, and then on 17, he hit the rocks and ended up making a birdie. But SH Kim's just a solid player in general. Like, of the rookie class, he's probably like number 5 or 6 when it comes to talent level. He's the kind of guy he's just like gonna make the playoffs a few years. Like I don't know. He's not like an elite level talent. I don't think he's gonna be like a fixture in the playoffs or anything like that. He's just like your solid tour pro, right? And at $7,200, $3,300, I'm willing to play your solid tour pro, especially one that's a little bit aggressive. And what's his score? It's -1, so kind of like a Cam Davis, right? You got to get that 7 under par round to go out there and make the cut. Maybe he will. Maybe he'll go out there and surprise us, right? We've seen crazier things happen. Kevin Yu, love the ball striking for good old Kevin Yu. Just has to find a way to make some putts. So add him to the list of a Scheffler, Finau, add him to all the dog shit putters that we're crossing our fingers with today, because he's going to set up plenty of birdie looks. Just it's got to convert on him. I do like Aaron Baddeley. Aaron Baddeley, people loved playing him going into the week. Like he was one of your most popular value picks, which I get. He made like 12 of 15 cuts coming in. But outside of the last 2 weeks, he had never really done anything with it. And the only times I played him were the 2 weeks that he went out there and actually finished in like the top 15. So I got paid off on that. And I haven't played him to this point because I feel like people were just kind of chasing, right? They were looking at some of the box scores and expecting him to continue that. And you can tell that those people are annoyed, right? The guys that played Baddeley this week are probably pissed off that he's 5 under par. This is one I would love to jump on because, I mean, he's in decent form. I love the play, right? But not at 10% ownership like he was for 4-round contests. Now we get him at 1% ownership, right? Where we can play him in 7% and get 4 or 5x the field. So love Aaron Baddeley, $7,000. I'll be there. Next up, we've got Troy Merritt at $7,000. He's playing the Nicklaus course, just way under the radar, only 0.5% owned. Somebody that you don't have to play in a bunch of lineups to get that leverage to, and a much better player. Like it's Troy Merritt. He's not going to do anything flashy. He's not going to win major championship, that sort of thing. But he's your average tour pro, right? He goes out there. He's an aggressive player. At this point, because of his standing, he's going to have to be aggressive to make the cut. Those are the kind of guys I like getting to. On the other hand, you have like the Ches Reeves, the Michael Thompsons of the world. I'm not trying to pick on guys here. I guess I am a little bit. Like Robbie Shelley, the Adam Longs of the world that are just like below average players. They're not going to make the playoffs every year, right? Like Troy Merritt, we'd be surprised if he wasn't making it into the top 70, the top 125 by the end of the year. Not so much with some of the other guys here. Next up, we've got Callum Turan, $6,900. I love the fact that he's on the Nicklaus course as well. Looking at an aggressive player that makes a bunch of birdies. Austin Eckroat, you could consider. He's way out of form. So like this would be the ultimate dart play. So I'm not getting there myself. But based on how he played last week, we used that same sort of logic before. We're talking about a few, who was it? Baddeley we talked about. Kevin Yu played really well the week before. David Lipsky was the guy I was thinking about that played really well the week before. Then now no one wants to play him. It's that same sort of story down here, right? You take an Eckroat if you wanted to get that leverage. And like a week ago, he was in contention, right? It's not like he forgot how to play golf over the first 2 days, right? Sometimes you just have a couple bad rounds. If you're willing to put that to the side, he's a great play at $6,800. Johnny Vegas, I think it's time to hop on. So the worry with him this week was the injury. It was returning from the shoulder surgery that he ended up having. At this point, I think he's past it. I mean, he was able to shoot well under par yesterday. And if we're not worried about the health anymore, why aren't we playing this guy? He's way better than the price tag, an aggressive player, and somebody that we love playing on this format to begin with. Love Munoz. Somebody mentioned him before. Lee Hodges loves the Nicklaus course. He absolutely nuked it last year when he played there. So love him at 2.2% ownership. Sam Ryder, another horse course, somebody that loves playing around the AMEX, $6,700, also playing at the Nicklaus course. You have Ben Martin down here. He's a La Quinta guy. He's $6,600. We know why you want to play Ben Martin. I've given you this spiel. This is like the third time this week that I'm bringing it up. The guy stripes it. He flushes it with the irons. Just again, he's just another one of those team no putt players that we just got to get him to make a damn putt. If he can do so, he's going to go low, and that's what you love about him. Next up, we've got Zach Johnson. Zach Johnson, he probably didn't think I was going to be playing, but he's -9. He's playing beautiful golf to this point, and now you get him at the Nicklaus course, which is really gettable for some of those shorter players. It's the easiest course. And if anything, it's a putting contest. So $6,600. I like Zach Johnson at a putting contest, that sort of place. So 1.7%, count me up. Next up, we've got Harry Higgs, another Nicklaus course. I'll be getting there. Peter Malnati, I told you guys this yesterday. If he's on a showdown slate, he's low owned, and he's playing at a good golf course, like Quinta this time around, he's going to be in my player pool. And yesterday, I know he didn't shoot way under par. I believe he made 6 birdies on the day, and that's kind of like his MO. Peter Malnati might not always be in contention, might not always be going out there and shooting like a 64, 65, but he's usually making 5 or 6 birdies in a round. He's just that aggressive madman that you're hoping for in a showdown format. So I think a pretty solid, value tier / flyer pick that you could get to, and a good old Austin Cook. Yeah, I forget who put me on to that earlier. I think it was William who mentioned that down in chat. Great play. The iron play has been there to this point, playing at La Quinta, and another guy, kind of like a Zach Johnson, where at La Quinta, I want the guys that can just fill it up with the flat stick. Nicholas course, I want guys that can fill it up with the flat stick. At the stadium course, it's a lot more about the ball striking. I mean, Sam Burns went out there, shot like 9, 10 under par. Like guys that are taking that course low are the ones that are sticking it close. The ones that are taking La Quinta low are the ones that are able to putt the best. And Cook, I have pretty good. I feel pretty good about his chances there. Outside of that, there's nobody else in my player pool I'm getting to. I mean, if you wanted to take a dart throw on just about anybody, I'd be okay with it. I guess Tano Goya would be like a prime suspect for that. Endicott, Nicholas Echeverria, another aggressive player. You can get the Jonathan Bird. He's flashed a few times over the last year. Max McGreevy, he's still a half decent player. And that's probably about it. Everyone else down low, guys, you're really grasping at straws at that point to try and find a play. But it's showdown. It's volatile as hell. If you went out and you told me you're going to play a bunch of Taiga Samakawa, I'm not going to push back at all. He played well last week. Vincent Norman, same thing. Like he's an aggressive, super long player off the tee. You can make an argument for pretty much anybody down here. I mean, even Caleb Surratt, he's the amateur that's in the field. You have Gunnar Wiebe, another amateur that's in the field that you could play at $6,200. All of these sort of players are in play. It's just they bring a ton of risk to the table, right? And these guys in the middle tier range, it's not like they don't bring risk. They bring a similar type of risk too. But I don't know if we need to spend $6,100 or $6,200, right? Like the pricing is soft as hell. At the top of the board, your most expensive player is Jon Rahm at 10.5. A lot of these guys in the 8K range were $9,000 golfers to begin the week. So you're not worried about salary too much here. So, if there were like 3 guys up top that I was jamming into lineups, I know somebody before mentioned trying to take, I think it was Scotty and Cantlay in the same lineup. If you're going to do that, then perhaps that's when you go down here and you take a McGreevy as just a pure on flyer play, or a Tano Goya, who's extremely aggressive. Where's Augusto Nunez, actually? Let me see if I can find Augusto Nunez here. He's another one of those really aggressive players. Yeah, here he is, $6,400. I'd be fine with you playing. He's got the firepower to take this place low. And he's -4. He's got to shoot like 4 under par to make the cut. That's well within his range of outcomes. He's an aggressive player. Let's see what's going on down in live chat. Then we're going to go over to the PrizePicks side. Let's see. Why I Win says, and I'm working on the name there, Why I Win. I keep wanting to say you win so bad. He said Sigur Lipsky or Day and Munoz. So the second combination is probably what I'm going with. I would say the second combination. Jason Day, I love how he's striping it. He's a little bit higher owned, but Munoz is low enough owned to make up for that, right? What is Munoz's ownership? Let's bring it up. I know it's not anything crazy. He's $6,700. He's 4.3%. Yeah. So if you're playing him, the 15, 16% that you might be getting on a Jason Day isn't the end of the world. So I'd go with the second, but both pretty good combinations. Derek says, who do you like for birdies or better in fairways hit? We're actually going to bring up the entire PrizePicks board in about a minute here. So be patient with me, Derek. We'll get to that. But actually a bunch of guys for birdies or better in strokes that I like. Not so much for the fairways board, but we'll go through it. I'll give you my thoughts there in a second. Dot says he has not gone to PrizePicks yet. Yeah, I'll be there in a second. Thank you, Dot, for helping me down there. Adrian says PrizePicks up next. Absolutely. You guys are good on your time in here. And Andrew says, any outstanding cash plays? Hey, thank you for reminding me. Let's go into the cash plays before we go over to PrizePicks, which I know a lot of you guys out there are playing cash. And for round 3 showdown, it's one of the easier days to go out there and build a cash lineup. The only easier day is on Sunday, where you have to play the guys in first, second, and third place. Here for round 3 showdown, you don't quite have to play all the guys at the top of the board, but you're definitely playing Jon Rahm in your cash lineup. If you're playing a cash lineup today and Jon Rahm's not in it, I'm not going to use the word that I want to use there. You probably figure out what I think about you if you do that. You're not a very intelligent human being. But let's start with John Rahm. I don't want to roast you guys too bad there. If you, like I said, it's like a free square in cash, and I'll go through the thought process because I'm sure a lot of you guys out there might be new to cash, might not understand the thought process. In cash, you have to play like 3 pieces of chalk, sometimes 4, even 5 pieces of chalk. That's the optimal build, because when you're playing in a 50-50 format, you want to limit the volatility. You want to make it all about just maybe making 1-2 decisions right. So the key is to take 3-4 pieces of chalk and then mix in 1-2 pieces of low-owned pivots. And that's where you make or break your slate, right? Those 2 pivot plays. So by locking in a Jon Rahm at super high ownership, let's see, Tom Kim's probably going to be relatively chalky too in that range. Let's see how chalky we can make this. Our next man in, Poston, is probably that guy, right? You could probably go to a Jason Day, right? And I know I said you don't have to play all the guys at the top of the board, but that's kind of the idea there. Now, if you wanted to save some salary, maybe you go from a Poston, you go down here and take a Davis Thompson instead. But these are going to be your cash game cornerstones. In terms of the ones that I think that you have to play tomorrow, it's really just the top 2. Like, I think that if you're playing cash, Rahm and Kim are some of the must plays, or, quote unquote must plays when it comes to cash. These middle tier guys like a Poston, Day, and whatnot, perhaps that's where you want to get your leverage, because there are plenty of options in this range that I think are just as good plays. I mean, we talked about a few of them on stream, but like a Ricky Fowler, as opposed to going to a Jason Day. He's going to be lower owned. He's playing, not as well as a Jason Day, but he's also like 4 times less owned. So if you're going to try and find that one piece of leverage to get in your cash lineup, I, at least personally, I'm not playing cash today when it comes to Showdown. I would be doing it in the top of the 7K range. I just think that there's a lot more options there. And at the top of the board, you can pivot at the top of the board because you have such high quality players up there. But Jon Rahm's going to be like 60-70% owned in those cash contests. And if he ends up smashing today and you don't have him, you're screwed. You're not going to win the 50-50, right? So that's the issue with not playing the chalk, at least up top. Is the chalk up top hits a shit ton when it comes to Showdown. Andy Gerg says, any love for Bramlett? Good call. Actually, let me take a look at his stats. He likes the greens here. He's played well here in the past. So I don't hate the idea at all, but just let me take a look at the ball striking. You always got to look at the stats when it comes to some of these lower quality players. So let's see what's going on. Okay, so he's top 50 in terms of your greens and regulation. And yeah, he's well outside the top 100 when it comes to accuracy, but that's kind of what we've come to known for him. So I'm okay with it. Bramlett, an aggressive player. You're going to get him at relatively low ownership. I think it makes some sense there. But let's go ahead and hop into PrizePicks now. If you guys have any questions for DFS, feel free to go ahead and ask away. You can let me know at any point what you're looking at there. I didn't realize I had that screen up there. My bad. Hopefully you guys didn't see that. My bad. That was unintentional. Sorry. I gotta get a sip of coffee. I cracked you up. I didn't think my winnings were going to be on the screen there. That was a little ridiculous. Again, unintentional. Either way, let's get into this PrizePicks board. If you have any of those DFS questions, feel free to go ahead and ask away with them. So on the board here, we have all the best players in the field, right? So we've been waiting to be able to bet on a Rahm, a Scheffler, Tom Kim, Cantlay, all these sort of guys, because they want all the best players on the stadium course where they have all the cameras on a Saturday. So field strength today, way, way higher than what we've had for the first 2 days. And the weather, if you guys are just tuning in now, is absolutely ideal for Saturday. I mean, it's going to be dome-like conditions. It's warmer on Saturday than it has been all week. You're going to see just people going low today, aggressive, right? It's Saturday. You got to make the cut line. You got to get into contention for Sunday. You're going to see more birdies made today than you've seen all week. And when we take a look at the metrics from round 2, the stadium course looks like it played significantly more difficult. That was all weather-based. If anything, the weather is a lot more similar to what we had on Thursday, where it played 2.5 strokes under par, if not even better. So if we were to just adjust for weather on round 1, we're probably looking at like a 2.75 under par average, just given how benign the conditions look for today. On top of that, you have all the best players in the field that are playing on the stadium course today. That's also going to further drive down the average for the stadium course. So this is just my projection. I can be wrong here. I think it plays the easiest today and at least 3 strokes under par. I think it might play closer to 3.2 strokes under par, maybe even 3.5 strokes under, just because of all that top end talent on that side of things. So I'm really going to be taking unders here. We're going to actually go through all the props that I'm taking, but it's supportive stances on the studs, right? Like we get our chance to bet on the studs. It's perfect weather. They've got to get into contention, and I'm loving it. Like 67.5 strokes, right? So let's go to the strokes board. He's got to shoot 5 under par to cover that. Jon Rahm's easily done that the first 2 days. Scotty Scheffler was able to do so yesterday with relative ease, and he's been ball striking the heck out of it, right? Day one, he just could not make a putt for his life. Still shot 4 under par. Now we get him on the stadium course, the easiest conditions that you're going to have all week. I mean, like I said, if he was at 68 strokes, I would have absolutely nuked it, right? If we had that push in our back pocket, that's the only thing that could make this bet a little bit better. But as is, still absolutely love it. Jon Rahm, same thing. Another player that's a stud, again, to this point, has covered both days. Tom Kim yesterday shot 9. Actually, it was even more. I think he shot, was it 9 or 8 under par? Maybe it was like, actually, it might have been 10 under for good old Tom Kim. He's an absolute stud. Either way, though, right? He shoots 4 under par. He pushes that sort of prop. I like that on the stadium course. Tony Finau, another ball striker that I'm getting to at 68 strokes, and I'm taking an under on. The issue with all these unders is the multiplier, right? So another prop I like, just to give you guys the last one here, is this Ricky Fowler prop over 5 birdies. The issue here is the multiplier, right? You do that and you get a 7.5x payout. So what I've done today, what I'm recommending a lot of people out there, if you're just playing on PrizePicks, is just enter 2-man cards, right? Do your 2 strokes unders, whatever it might be. Take your 3x payout. Just mix and match, right? Whatever set of props that you're going to end up playing today, just mix and match, play a bunch of different combos of them. And that's the way that I went, right? You're not going to get those 15x payouts. You're not going to get 25x for a 6 leg, that sort of thing. But sometimes that's just how it is, right? I'm not going to force in overs or unders just to get a certain payout. I'm not going to force in birdie or better matchups just to get a certain payout. You know, you got to play disciplined, right? You got to go out there, stick to your guns, and try not to deviate very much. If you were going to play any birdie or better matchup, I guess the post and over is like the only one that I would take, but it's like a 56% hit rate at the very best. So I don't think you're looking at like a free prop or anything like that. Not like the Munoz from yesterday against Sabatini, where he absolutely destroyed him. So that's what I'm thinking for strokes. Birdies are better. There are a few other guys I like too. So I know we went through 5 props so far, but Sahith Theegala, Taylor Montgomery overs, I think they make plenty of sense. I know we talked about the Ricky Fowler over for birdies are better. You can consider him for strokes as well. Both props you can end up pushing, right? 3 under par pushes 69 strokes. Over there with birdie or better, 5 birdies ends up pushing that. And I'm very high on his chances today, whether it's for Showdown, whether it's over here for PrizePicks. So I think those are all quality bets. But if you were just looking at the board in general, it's a lot of unders. You really like Taylor Pendrith today. I'm fine with you taking under 68.5. You really like Justin Rose, which first off, I don't really know why you'd love Justin Rose today, but 69 strokes, sure, pick his under. I'm okay with that. Go over here to birdies are better. This is where I start to give you some pushback. 7 birdies, right? 6 birdies, just the push here with birdies are better. And I know, right? Like we want them to shoot 4 under par to push at the very least. These aren't hard courses, right? Like they're going to make 1-2 bogeys at the very most for most of these players. That's the issue I have with taking it over here, because if they go bogey free and they only make 1 bogey on the day, they only have to make 6 birdies to hit, right? Let alone if they make an eagle, right? If they end up making an eagle, that takes away one of those birdies that they have to make. And at the stadium course, you have 3 really short par 5s. So eagles are going to be in the books out there. I would just rather go to strokes, right? It's easier to hit, in my opinion, with an easy golf course with no wind out there. If we were dealing with more of a risk reward golf course where there was a little bit more water off the tee or something like that, I might be a little bit more willing to go to birdies or better. But there's only like 3 or 4 holes on the stadium course that have water on it. I believe there's only like 2 tee shots that have water in play. One of them is hole number 10. One of them is hole number 6, which I think is a par 5. It's either 6 or 7. It's on the front 9. It's water the whole way down the left and the right side of the fairway. But outside of those 2 tee shots, I mean, it's wide open, right? You're not really going to run into doubles very often. That's why I prefer the strokes board. So that's what I'll say about these guys at 6.5, 6 birdies. The reason why I'm taking Sahith in Montgomery, though, and I'll say this, is that they do spray it off the tee, right? They deal with volatility issues, which is what I call them. Rounds for Sahith, where he's shooting like 8 over par, right? Taylor Montgomery, where you can't keep it on the planet with the driver. We've seen that a few times. That's why I have them for birdies or butter. Also, they're not at 6, right? They don't have to make 7 birdies to hit. If they just get to 6, that's what we're looking for. So a little bit of a different story for the guys at the bottom of the board. Maybe the guys that are a little bit more aggressive, a little bit crazier out there, right? Play a little bit like John Daly, but that's the idea. Greens of regulation board, I hate. Like, guys, to hit 15 out of 18 greens is like a ceiling round. So like most of these guys are going to push at 14. You're probably going to get like half of them that go over, half of them that go under, which just smells like something to stay away from, right? Like you don't need to force in bets there. For fairways hits, the same thing. They started, if you guys remember in day one, there were guys at 7 and 7.5 fairways. Now the guy that's the lowest on the board is at 8.5, and it's Ricky Fowler, right? Who's not accurate at all off the tee. Thagala, who's not accurate at all off the tee. Pendrith, same thing. Just avoid it, right? They bumped it to a solid point there. I think the edge is over here in strokes today, and then of course over for birdies are better for some of those lower tier players. Let's catch up on chat and then hop on out of here. It's 9:50, so the Serve Pro people are going to be here any second, so I got to get going. So let's see what's going. Adrian says, let's go. Absolutely. Flex the winnings. I wasn't trying to. It was thing is, bro, it's like not even that much. Like, I don't know. Like those aren't like, what is it, net winnings, right? Those are just total winnings. So it doesn't really tell you guys much. Jess says, so what's your best 2, bro? That's up to you. I don't make those decisions for you. Even on my Patreon page, Jess, I only give people the props I'm playing. I'm not really going to tell you how to play your cards. I'll tell you how I'm playing my cards. I told you, I'm just playing a bunch of 2-man powers. But if you're asking for my best 2, they don't exist. I'm playing them even across the board. I'm mixing and matching them. Every prop I have almost the same exact dollar amount on and almost the exact same amount of cards in for every single prop. So I don't really have a favorite 2. Sorry about that. These are your best 3? No, I don't really do that. Sorry, I don't do that. Derek says, are fairways hit worth it today? I don't think so. Not really. This is a hard course. Not really. It played 2.5 strokes under par. So if you look at day 1, which is the kind of conditions that you have today, it played 2.5 strokes under par. They made 4.89 birdies there, and this was with a much lower quality of player. Today, we have all the best players in the field playing at this course. I mean, look at this, right? Go over to the PrizePicks board. It's Rahm, Scheffler, Xander. Like, literally all the best players in the field are now playing over there. So just respectfully disagree. It's not a difficult course. 2.5 under par is one of the top 10 easiest courses on the PGA Tour. So you might want to reevaluate that, Jesse. Why I win says good luck. You too. Hopefully you go out there and cash out again. Devin says you're going to mix and match those 4 under strokes. Sounds like a good plan to me. That's not exactly what I did. I obviously mixed in some of the birdie props too, but those strokes props are going to be money, especially those top end players like the Finau, the Tom Kims of the world. I'm loving them. Steven says good luck. Absolutely. David says, so you like to hit for over birdies, but over on strokes, not over on strokes. Hey guys, the guys are here, so I got to get going. So I'll stop sharing my screen. The play below $7,000. I talked about a bunch of them on stream, and under par means like shooting under par. So you got to look that up, Casey. I got to go, guys. Like I said, best of luck, and I'll catch you guys next time.